Hey, today's video is all about custom race car wiring. Stick around. Welcome back to the channel, race fans, and today we are trying to fit this EP3 chassis harness into my 1990 EF. As you can see, it's going well. That was a stock harness from a 2005 EP3 Civic. I was trying to get that to work so I could use the stock cluster, the ECU that I found for it. Unfortunately, I was fighting a losing battle. There was way too many wires, I couldn't secure it, and it was basically a fire hazard. So this is what happened to it. Now with all that ripped out, after all that work that I put into it, we are now going to do everything custom. First things first, we're going to start with the kill switch and getting power into the vehicle. We have a 4-post kill switch, simple on-off. I'm just going to show you what we have lined up here. Right, there we go. So this is where we're going to start. So this big 2-gauge wire runs all the way behind the dash and to the battery, which is in the passenger wall. That brings the 12 volts from the battery to the kill switch. Obviously with the switch off, it stops here. As soon as you go switch on, transfers to make this live now. So the way we're going to wire it is, I have this wire here, which comes from the alternator, which is 10 gauge. That is going to go on the battery side. This way, alternator's running, feeds power in here, goes back, charges the battery. On the other side of the switch though, this is a 4-gauge wire, which is going to go to this post. That is going to feed the actual current for the starter. And then from this post also, we'll then have a 12-gauge wire fused, which will run to a fuse box, which is then what I'm going to then branch all my electrics off the vehicle. So first things first, I'm just going to tidy this up and make it look nice and neat. If you like my content, guys, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave me a comment, give me ideas for other videos. I like to interact with people, and I hope I'm doing stuff that you enjoy. So now that we have the kill switch nice and tidily set up, I now need to run my fused wire from the kill switch to the fuse panel. So there we go. We got the lug to go on the kill switch, fuse, and it joins. Now we're going to run it in the car to a fuse panel. Okay, because I have all my switches and fuses down here, I got to get from over there to here. Now the choice is to run it along the front, or what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to run it behind the driver's seat and in this way. So here I am securing the live wire all the way to the battery with P-clamps and Tech screws. You'll see later on in the video that using Tech screws isn't the greatest thing. I would advise working out where you want to put your P-clamps, drilling small holes, putting in riv nuts, and just using bolts. It's a lot safer and a lot less damage can be caused. So we have our kill switch wired up, then the wire for the auxiliaries goes down the roll cage, round the back, down here, and into this fuse box. And if everything's done correctly, I've got the kill switch on, this should be live. Okay, so my bad. Got everything wired in, I touched this, not live. But that's because I put in a fused wire over there, so let me go grab a fuse and we'll check.
So it did work. I put in a 30 amp fuse and I had 12 volts to the fuse panel. Now, because I need grounds, I wanted to run a bus bar with multiple grounds, so I am grounding that directly to the battery, which is grounded directly to the chassis.
Okay, so system so far, everything is going to run. This is my main fuse box. So I have power coming in. I now have my ground block grounded to the battery. So this is the ground for the fuel pump. This is the live for the fuel pump. All I need to do now is wire in the switch panel and attach this wire back to the fuel pump via the harness, and we should be good to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to repin the, up there, see this? I'm going to repin that so that the fuel pump works. Alright, the wiring for the fuel pump, I haven't gone through the relay yet. This is just a test to make sure I wired up the connector correctly. So I've grounded the bar, put the 2 grounds to the common ground bar here. So now I'm going to energize the system and I'm just going to touch the wire to the live and the fuel pump should run. Okay, so we do have power to the fuse box. Big test. There you go. Fuel pump runs, can hear it. So now we can tidy up all this wiring, get it secured in, run my sender wire down the front, and we'll go from there. So fuel is done for the car. We've got fuel pump working, it's putting pressure down to the engine. So that's one aspect of fuel, spark, air to get an engine running. The next thing I need to do is get power to the ECU. The way this works on a Honda Civic with a K series is through this plug. This would normally be the chassis side. Brings lots of different things, so like it's got a wire for the starter to send the starter signal, vehicle speed sensors, wideband, all that kind of stuff. Realistically, for a race car, you need 4 pins in this. You need power to the ECU, you need ground for the coils, you need a relay ground. I am, however, going to wire in an O2 sensor, and hopefully my dash will work on CAN direct from the ECU. However, if CAN doesn't work on my dash from the K-Pro, I can then add into this engine cylinder temp, engine oil pressure, water temp, all that other kind of stuff. I am also going to use what is left of a conversion harness for a K series into a 95 Civic. As you can see, the person who did this chopped this off willy-nilly, and funny enough, he chopped off this end. That's what used to be connected here. The good thing for me though is I don't need any of this, but I do have the wideband wiring. So I am going to wire the wideband into this plug so that the ECU can use internal wideband. So we'll get on to doing that now. This part of the harness is finished. Basically what I have is I have my C101 connector, and then coming out of that I have in the back I have 3 power, 12 volt power, which is going to go to the ECU, the coils, the injectors. Then I have the other 4 pins for the AFR. So this will plug into the C101. I'm also got the oil pressure light switch there, which is going to be wired to a light on the dash, a nice big bright one so that if you see it, you know to shut down the race car. But as you can see, there's a lot of stuff that I'm not using, lots of empty spaces. So if I ever need to add something else, I can do. So now that this is done, basically the way it's going to work is obviously the AFR is going to plug into the AFR. But this 12 volt power here, the 3 yellows are going to go into a fuse block. The fuse block is going to be relayed from the ignition switch. So when you turn on the ignition switch, the relay will energize the fuse box that these 3 are plumbed into, and then these will be fused. This is the wire that's going to run to a light on the dash. I made it super long because I don't know where I'm going to put it. So this is done now. What I now need to do is build a harness and wiring for this. So my plan for this is, here's your ignition switch. So that'll turn on, that'll energize the relay, which will then feed that fuse box down at the front for the ECU. Push button start is going to be wired straight into the start solenoid. And then I have a fuse panel where this is going to be mounted. It's going to have lights, gauges and fuel pump via a relay. So we're going to build a harness for this now. The package came with some wiring and a relay. So I'll probably use this relay to go with this at the front, and we'll go from there. So let's get down to building a harness. Okay, switch panel is wired in. Kind of looks messy at the moment, but I'll explain what we've got. So this is the main ignition switch here. So we have power from the 12 volt fuse box coming in. When you then turn, and it's grounded here, this black wire will be set to ground. When you flick it on, it energizes the push button start, and it also turns on the relay. This will be 12 volt power coming from the fuse box. Then the blue wire will go to the ECU and grounded. So ignition switch will energize the push button start. In here will be the line that goes to the starter solenoid, so that when you push it, it starts. This power line will go to a fuse which will light up with this ground, will light up the push button switch. And then you've got 3 fused wires coming in for lights, gauges, fuel pump. So power going in, these will go to the front and rear lights. This will go to the dash. Attached here will be the white line for the fuel pump relay that we wired in earlier. So turn this on, energizes the relay, turns on the fuel pump. Turn this on, we'll turn on the dash. Turn this on, we'll turn on the lights. And then we have push button start. All looks kind of messy now. I'm going to clean it up and then we'll go throw it in the car. Alright, might look messy, but the panel's wired in. Fuel pump is attached to this switch. Now just got to wire everything in and tidy it up and send stuff to the front and to the back so we have lights. So that's going to be the next thing. Alright, so update. After 2 hard days in a slog, this is where we stand. We did kill switch, running power from the battery to the kill switch. Then from the kill switch, power to the alternator, power to the starter, alternator feedback, and then power via a wire here to a fuse panel. Fuse box then powers the 12 volt supply to fuel pump, powers a relay, and it powers this box energized. This relay powers this switch, which is ignition power, which goes to this fuse box, which then goes through the harness I made to the ECU. This switch panel is fused here, and we have lights, gauges, fuel pump, which you can hear. So that's all in. And the push button start doesn't work with without the ignition on. Put the ignition on, car turns over. So now what I have to do is I have to just tidy this up a little, mount the ECU, tidy up the wires, wire in the front lights, wire in the brake switch and the rear lights with the brakes, then figure out the wipers, because I'm using a stock wiper motor and a stock stalk, and then wire in the transponder. That should be all the wiring done, and that would be all the wiring done. However, through doing the wiring and the stress of it all, I did make a mistake. You could see over there where I put the power from the kill switch to the fuse bar. This little tech screw here went straight through the fuel return line. So that's going to be another issue I need to sort out. I have to fix the fuel return line. But as this car has a fuel feed line which is all custom, making a fuel return line should not be that hard. So, job for another day, but let's get on with tidying up the wiring. Okay, it's all finished. We got things tidied up as good as I'm going to get them for this season. There are some things that I want to do differently. Okay, so we have my kill switch. We know it's all wired around here, and all this is plumbed in, fused.
And remember how I said I'd made the light and squeal repeater to show low oil pressure that would be on with the ignition. So when I put the ignition on, that light flashes there and makes that noise. Lights work. I got a gauge module now. You might also see the dash, but there's the gauge module, and fuel pump all works. So that's all nice and neatly tidied up. We mounted the ECU to this aluminium plate, and it's bolted in. It's on rubber washers. Got all the we got all the harnesses secured. This is a little bit of a mess down here, but this is secured. The wideband goes through the floor there now rather than the side. But basically I want to put a bigger fuse panel here, like a 12-volt fuse panel, and get rid of all these separate ones. Basically just run a wire to that from the switch and then have everything run off this up here. My gauges run there. I've got a tachometer / dash to go in there. Garmin goes here. But that looks pretty nice and tidy compared to the mess of wires that the EP3 harness was going to be. Let me quickly show you what I did in the back for the rear lights. Okay, so this is the same on both sides. So basically I had 2.5 cars worth of rear lights, and it took me 2.5 cars worth to get one full working set. I made a harness out of it, and down to this bus bar here. The lights, power come in from here, go to the bus bar, energize all the lights, and then the same goes over to that side. And we basically have 2 brake lights up here, and then running lights and brake lights down there. But it was very simple. Grounded everything here, grounded everything over there. This was the hardest part. Let me see if I can show you it. This was the hardest part. Finding ones of these that worked, cleaning them, and reconnecting them all and repinning them all. As I said, I had 2.5 cars worth, and I only got one full set out. And one of the marker lights has already burnt out already. So all the cars, stuff's obviously getting harder to find. So that's it for this episode. I hoped you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. If you've seen stuff that you like, leave a comment below and tell me that. If you've seen something that I could do better, also tell me about that. I like to learn new stuff, especially if I've done something wrong. Car runs fine. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Tell your friends about the channel, and until next time, I'll see you later.